Hi guys, I've never seen Uluru before, so I thought I'd jump on Jetstar flight 660 this morning and come out and have a look. So I'm about to go back out to the airport to take a private flight around Uluru, and we're staying at the Lost Camel, and let's go. Well, what a day it's been and what a year it's been. This morning I started off in Sydney, boarded a Jetstar flight to Ayres Airport, and now I'm in the Lost Camel Hotel in the Ayres Resort. Tomorrow morning I'm on a Segway tour around the base of Uluru, and the time for pickup here is about 10 to 5, so before sunrise. But that'll be a great trip, and I'm looking forward to that, and I will bring you along with me on that one. And for now, I'll see you in the morning. Problem with using one hand with a selfie stick, you got no hands left to get the flies off. You got to stop. Just has to whip.
How you going one-handed?
Fine. Fine.
And that's what I was saying, guys, to the guys who drove down. To appreciate the stories, we know the three stories on a chi-chi level, like a preschool level. We only know the very basics. So the intricacies of stories, you know, the older you get, the little bit more involved they get too. But this is my favourite story, and the hidden meanings is intuition and the power of a woman and family. You know, there's nothing stronger.
Guardian.
Yeah, exactly. So Uluru here, he's a warrior. He's a poisonous snake man. So all Uluru have totems. So the Mala people were the first indigenous here. Mala's a little wallaby. And the Ununu are Western Desert people. So their totem is Uluru, the actual Western, you know, the Central Desert. But so how this story goes, Punya, she's over at El Dunda with Stuart Highway. Wow. And she's just got a bad feeling. She doesn't know what's going on, but just something's not right. So she just has this, you know, she knows she has to get to Uluru, something's wrong. And this is where you kind of lose people. Their belief is Chukapa, that the land was flat and featureless. You know, some people are Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Catholic, whatever it is. Theirs is Chukapa. So their belief is the land was flat and featureless, and ancestral beings emerged, and they could have been in animal form, wind form, water form. They've created everything we see today. So they believe most rivers, everything they had amazing imagination, and that's the powerful thing humans have, and that's why we dominated the world, is we have an imagination, you know. So, and that's where these stories come from. You imagine the first Ununu man walking around here 60,000 years ago, and he works things out and he reads the land, and then he makes up a story to pass it down through generations. So these stories have been going for 60,000 years. So Kunya didn't know what was wrong, but anyway, she shapeshift. This is where you lose people. She transformed into a Womapaita woman. And you got to remember too, there is some relevance to that story, because this is where you lose people. They think, how can a snake crawl around there, gouging out Uluru, and you know, a snake getting up there and leaving a mark? 60,000 years ago, when the Ununu, you know, they lived in harmony with the land, but as soon as that first indigenous footprint hit the coastline of Australia, they changed the ecosystem forever, because there was never a human being on the continent. And back then you had the mega flora and fauna, and it only took the indigenous about 10,000 years to wipe out all the mega flora, you know, the big animals, because those animals are only, they're not like rabbits having more rabbits every 9 weeks. These animals might have only had offspring every couple of years, so it didn't take them long to wipe them out. And that's where the stories have merit. Kunya the Womapaita woman, 60,000 years ago, there may have been snakes 20, 30 metres long out here. Apparently a wombat back then was the size of a Brahman bull. And then, you know, vice versa, big animals were quite small. They say long, like dinosaur period, a camel and a horse, you know, were tiny kind of things. And then they went through the mega period, and became 3-4 times as big as they are now, and kind of reverted back to what they are.
So where did the original inhabitants?
Well, they would have come, you know, probably from the Indonesian islands at some stage. And when you read, I'm reading a really good book at the moment called Sapiens. It's just a brief history of humankind. And 60,000 years ago, there's 8 billion people nearly on the planet now. 60,000 years ago, there would have been a couple of million people. Yeah. So those people probably would have thought they were the only people on the face of the earth, you know, but they're not realising that there were other groups of people, you know, Neanderthals and, you know, dwarfed kind of people, living their own little world, not realising there's other stuff going on. So if you came to this place, and you can see one of the that very top mark, see, it looks like a love heart. So he called this place Ayres Rock after Sir Henry Ayres, the governor of South Australia. And he was actually dating Sir Henry Ayres' daughter, Maggie, at the time. So he called this place Maggie Springs, and he called it Ayres Rock. But when he might not have ever done that, because when he got back to South Australia with the good news, they weren't just gone for the week, they were gone for years. Maggie got sick of waiting around. And it's not like you could, call on the sat phone and, I'm not going to be home and I'm going to be another 12 months. So when he got back to South Australia with the good news, she went back to England with some other guy. She was sick of waiting around for him. They might not have ever called it Maggie Springs. So there's another big water hole, pretty much the same size as this one. So you can see the tree there. So there's another big water hole up in there. And then the Indigenous kids, when it is raining, their bums are steel. They'll slide down that thing like slippery.
If you're right just here.
What's that?
If you're right just here, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, they usually start up there, but when it's really flowing, it's
okay.
flowing. But that's a big reason why they closed the climb too. A lot of people hurting themselves, but the main reason was environmental. This was almost like a sewer. Because, people do the climb, and if you've got to go, you've got to go. Yeah. People used to say, what was it there? It'd be nice if there was a coffee shop on top of the rock.
And a cable car.
Nice when you get a pie and a cup of coffee. It'd be nice if there were toilets. But so there's none of that on, and people go to the toilet anyway. And then when it rains, it all ends up here in the water hole.